Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj, and coming up in the next 30 minutes. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates Global Investors Summit 2023 in Dehradun, Uttarakhand. Unveils House of Himalayas, says vocal for local and then to global is the vision of summit. US President Joe Biden's trouble mounts ahead of 2024 election. Son Hunter Biden charged with evading taxes on millions from foreign firms. Republican majority US House takes step toward vote on his impeachment inquiry. Reserve Bank of India Monetary Policy Committee decides to keep policy rates unchanged at 6.5%. RBI governor says real GDP growth projected at 7%. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday inaugurated the first India Art, Architecture and Design Biennale 2023 at Red Fort in New Delhi. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also launched the Atmanirbhar Bharat Centre for Design at the first Indian Art, Architecture and Design Biennale 2023. PM Modi also released commemorative postage stamps at the event. He also unveiled 7 research publications. India is all set to become the third largest economy, and it will happen in my third term, declared the Indian Prime Minister while inaugurating the Uttarakhand Global Investors Summit. PM Modi also unveiled House of Himalayas on this occasion. DD India correspondent Vishal Baristo reports from Dehradun.
The Indian state of Uttarakhand is holding a 2-day Global Investors Summit. Inaugurating the summit, the Indian Prime Minister said that the mission of his government is to provide global branding for the village products. The House of Himalayas is an umbrella that would provide branding and marketing of the local products at the world stage.
साथियों, मैं आज उत्तराखंड सरकार को हाउस ऑफ हिमालय ब्रांड लॉन्च करने के लिए बहुत-बहुत बधाई देता हूं। ये उत्तराखंड के लोकल उत्पादों को विदेशी बाजारों में स्थापित करने के लिए बहुत अभिनव प्रयास है। ये हमारी वोकल फॉर लोकल और लोकल फॉर ग्लोबल की अवधारणा को और मजबूत करता है।
The Indian Prime Minister appealed to the billionaires of the country not to move abroad, but turn to this Himalayan state for destination weddings.
हमारे यहाँ माना जाता है, कहा जाता है, जो शादी होती है ना, वो जोड़े ईश्वर बनाता है। ईश्वर तय करता है जोड़ा। मैं समझ नहीं पा रहा हूं, जोड़े जब ईश्वर बना रहा है तो जोड़ा अपने जीवन की यात्रा उस ईश्वर के चरणों में आने के बजाय विदेश में जाकर के क्यों करता है?
Indian big brands like Adani, Jindal, Patanjali and TVS Group assured their commitment for investment in this Himalayan state in the field of energy, infrastructure, tourism and health.
After the pandemic, the world is looking at India with a lot of hope, said the Indian Prime Minister by inaugurating the Uttarakhand Global Investors Meet, which has a theme, Peace to Prosperity. Prime Minister Modi asked the entrepreneurs to develop a supply chain so that India is not dependent on any other country. With cameraman Alok Gupta in Dehradun, this is Vishal Baristo for DT India.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has issued a powerful call to the youth of the nation, urging them to unite during this Amrit Kal and take on the role of Viksit Bharat ambassadors. PM urged that this is an ideal way to combine our strengths, spread the development agenda and utilize our energies to fulfill our mission to make India a developed nation. India's Minister of Commerce and Industry Piyush Goyal via a video message called on the citizens to participate in the Viksit Bharat movement. He urged people to propagate the movement by sharing videos, posts and articles. Moreover, he also called on people to join Vocal for Local movement to promote the vision of developed Bharat.
Friends, I'm delighted to share with you that today I have become a Viksit Bharat ambassador and have accepted the 100-day challenge in the Namo app. This is my homepage and I am now a part of the Viksit Bharat movement to make India a developed nation in India's Amrit Kal. We are all engaging in this challenge to make India aware of our role, our duty towards a developed nation. We all will have a chance to meet the Honorable Prime Minister if we are amongst the top 5 Viksit Bharat ambassadors. Let us all engage in the activities, propagate Viksit Bharat story amongst our friends, our relatives, our well-wishers, and engage with people to become a part of this great movement. Let's share graphics, share our videos, share our articles so that more and more people get to know about Viksit Bharat movement and become Viksit Bharat ambassadors themselves. Let's all of us together join the Honorable Prime Minister's clarion call to be a part of Viksit Bharat movement. Let us all participate in the Vocal for Local movement. Let us inspire people to micro-donate for nation building. Let us all join this movement. Jai Hind.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has invited participation for the Global Partnership on Artificial Intelligence Summit 2023, beginning on 12th of December. In a social media post, he said that the revolutionary technology of AI is now in the hands of a new generation, the young, brilliant minds who are swiftly enriching its vast potential. He further said India is poised to be an active contributor to the evolution of AI as one of the youngest nations with a vibrant startup ecosystem and a talented workforce. PM Modi highlighted India's crucial role in global partnership on AI, GPAI, of which India is a co-founder. The GPAI brings along 28 member countries and the EU as its members to guide the responsible development and use of AI. A Wall Street Journal report says India remains a bright spot in the global economy in 2023. The report attributed the growth in Indian economy to its resilient currency and reforms made by the government. The report says India's economy is on track to grow at more than 6% this fiscal year, taking its GDP to nearly $4 trillion, which is pretty close to that of Germany, the world's 4th largest economy. International Monetary Fund has predicted India's economy will be one of the fastest growing in the world over the next few years. The report further says that foreign portfolio managers have made big bets on the Indian stock market and have invested $12.3 billion this year. The MSCI India Index is up more than 8% this year. As Indian government bonds are set to be added to some of JP Morgan's indexes, analysts believe the move will attract additional $30 billion foreign investment into India's bond market. Russian President Vladimir Putin has praised India, saying Prime Minister Modi took action which are in interest of India despite pressure on him. Putin said relationship between Russia and India is consistently developing due to policies of PM Modi. He also said he was amazed at his strict position to defend national interest of India.
First of all, I want to say that relations between Russia and India are steadily developing in all directions. And the main guarantee is the policy of the Prime Minister Modi. I can't imagine that Modi can be intimidated, threatened, or forced in favor of taking any action or decision against the national interest of India, Indian people. And there is such pressure, I know. By the way, we never even talk about it with him. I just look at what's going on from the outside. And sometimes, to be honest, I am even surprised by his tough stance on the protection of the national interests of the Indian people.
Union Minister of Commerce and Industry Piyush Goyal spoke at the 44th annual function of Consumer Electronics and Appliances Manufacturer Association. The theme of the program was Amrit Kaal, inclusive growth of Indian ACE industry, and held knowledge sessions on waste manufacturing for ACE industry and more. The minister highlighted India's growth story and urged stakeholders to prioritize the quality of goods and services to enhance global competitiveness.
Inclusive growth of Indian.
We are today the 5th largest economy in the world, close to becoming a $4 trillion economy. And what a transformation from a fragile 5 economy 10 years ago to a top 5 economy within this period of a decade. It's truly been a journey of transformation, a journey where the nation today is recognized across the world as an important country. More and more countries are clearly looking at doing free trade agreements and looking at greater engagement with business and government in India because they can see the growing influence and importance of India into the future.
Indian Minister Piyush Goyal said India is looking at a 10 times growth to become a $35 trillion economy by 2047. Goyal said, "We look at making India the technology hub and innovation sector of the world, and the vision is very clear." The minister made the remarks while addressing FICCI's annual convention and 96th annual general meeting in New Delhi. Reserve Bank of India Governor Shakti Kanta Das has unveiled the 5th monetary policy of the financial year 2023-24 on Friday. The review by the 6-member Monetary Policy Committee led by Governor Das indicates the course RBI will adopt in the remainder of the financial year. RBI has kept the policy rates unchanged.
The Monetary Policy Committee decided unanimously to keep the policy repo rate unchanged at 6.5%. Consequently, the standing deposit facility rate remains at 6.25% and the marginal standing facility, that is MSF rate, and the bank rate at 6.75%. The MPC also decided by a majority of 5 out of 6 members to remain focused on withdrawal of accommodation to ensure that inflation progressively aligns to the target while supporting growth.
And still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Hunter Biden accused of tax evasion. Stay with us to know more. The US and Mexico agreed to cooperate on stronger screening of investments. COP28 President Sultan Al-Jaber urges countries to get out of their comfort zones.
Walking the climate talk amid a barrage of promises, commitments, pledges and announcements at the COP28 in Dubai. Know it all on Connecting the Dots every Friday at 8 p.m. IST on DD India.
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. US President Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, has been accused of tax evasion. The Department of Justice filed new criminal charges against Hunter, accusing him of failing to pay $1.4 million in taxes in an indictment which includes 3 felony and 6 misdemeanor tax offense. He faced up to 17 years in prison if convicted. The US House of Representatives took a step towards an impeachment probe into President Joe Biden on Thursday. They accuse him of taking advantage of this position when he was vice president to benefit his family and say the Department of Justice interfered in a probe on his son Hunter. Caroline Malone reports for DD India from Washington.
3 US presidents have been impeached by the House in the country's history, including former President Donald Trump. Now the House Republicans want to move forward to formally investigate the current leader, Joe Biden. Well, the former House Speaker, Kevin McCarthy, actually opened an inquiry on September 12th after months of congressional investigations. That's the first formal step in the process. Then there's a procedural step. That happened Thursday, where the House introduced a 14-page resolution that allows them to go on to then vote on authorizing the probe. As for when that could happen, it could happen as early as next week. Since September, the House Oversight Committee has had one public hearing. They've interviewed several officials. They've issued subpoenas for Biden's family financial records and for testimony from family members, including Biden's son, Hunter. Next week, on Wednesday, December the 13th, the House Committee have called for Hunter to appear in a closed-door session to give testimony. His lawyers say he will appear if it's a public hearing, but not behind closed doors, as there's a risk of them not accurately portraying what he's actually said. The House Committee has threatened to hold him in contempt of Congress if he doesn't appear. Crucially, though, they've not presented any evidence that Biden's actions when he was vice president are in any way connected to his son's businesses, the premise, of this impeachment inquiry. And even if they did and the House voted to impeach him, the Senate would likely not, because there is a slim Democratic Party majority. Caroline Malone in Washington for DD India.
And getting you the latest on Israel-Hamas conflict, Israel has said that 92 of its troops have been killed since the ground operation in Gaza began on 20th of October. This came as Israeli army ramped up strikes on Hamas. Meanwhile, US President Joe Biden held separate phone calls with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Jordan's King Abdullah on Thursday. Biden emphasized on the need to protect civilians and to separate the civilian population from Hamas. The United Arab Emirates has asked for the UN Security Council to vote on a draft resolution that demands an immediate humanitarian ceasefire in the conflict between Israel and Hamas. To be adopted, a resolution needs at least 9 votes in favor and no vetoes by 5 permanent members: the United States, Russia, China, France, or Britain. The US has said it does not support any further action by the Council at this time. The United States abstained last month to allow the Security Council to adopt a resolution calling for pauses in fighting.
The UN Security Council is set to meet on Friday to debate and then vote on this latest draft resolution by the UAE. But there might be some pushback, especially from the US as a permanent member who also holds veto powers. Speaking to reporters here at the UN in New York, the Deputy US UN Ambassador Robert Hood said that the US does not support any further action by the Security Council at this time. This said the diplomatic stakes are high for the US should it veto this ceasefire resolution. Calls are mounting for urgent action, with the EU saying that the UN must act immediately to prevent a full collapse of the humanitarian situation, while the WHO has warned that Gaza's health system was near total collapse. In a rare move on Wednesday, Secretary-General Antonio Guterres formally warned the Security Council of a global threat from the Gaza war. He invoked Article 99, which allows the Secretary-General to bring to the attention of the Security Council any matter which, in his opinion, may threaten the maintenance of international peace and security. While the Arab countries support this move by the Secretary-General, the Israeli ambassador to the UN has once again lambasted Antonio Guterres. He says that the Secretary-General has reached a new moral low and has once again called on him to resign. The UAE's draft resolution has been sent to Council members ahead of Friday's vote. To be adopted, a resolution needs at least 9 votes in favor and no vetoes from any of the permanent 5 members. Friday's Security Council meeting will be a defining one as the UN's humanitarian chief continues to sound the alarm bell. He has told journalists that the UN's humanitarian plan to protect civilians in Gaza is in tatters and there is no place that's safe anymore. Jody Jacobs at the United Nations in New York, reporting for DD India.
The US and Mexico agreed to cooperate on stronger screening of investments to reduce national security risks and discussed integrating cross-border payment systems. The effort aims at helping Mexico develop a screening body similar to the Treasury-run Committee on Foreign Investment, the US. Although US Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen insisted that the moves were not motivated by concerns about China. Yellen's trip focused on enhancing economic ties and cooperation to stem the flow of the deadly opioid fentanyl to the US through Mexico. where precursor chemicals from China are often mixed. Mexican finance minister also asked for help in controlling the flow of weapons from the US to Mexican gangsters. COP28 President Sultan Al-Jaber urged countries on Friday to get out of their comfort zones and work collectively to reach an agreement before the two-week summit ends. With 5 days left before the conference is scheduled and on December 12, the major issue that remains to be decided upon is fossil fuels. Of around 200 countries joining the conference, nearly 80 are calling for an end to use of fossil fuels. The Youth Actions on Lifestyle for Environment event held at COP28's India Pavilion on Friday in Dubai emphasized the pivotal role of young individuals in adopting eco-friendly lifestyle to combat climate change. The event was co-hosted by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change of India, UNICEF and International Energy Agency, and attracted government officials, international organizations and youth representatives. Speaking at the event, Indian Environment Minister Bhupender Yadav stressed on the role the youth plays in solutions for sustainable future. He also acknowledged the collaboration of the International Energy Agency and UNICEF for environmental sustainability.
My optimism stems from environmental concern the young people are showing across the world. Many of those young people are here among us today. I take this opportunity to congratulate the young pro-planet people gathered here and those around the world. We are demanding from their leaders that sustainability be part of the development roadmap of their country. And I have been pleasantly surprised by how deeply our children care for the environment at a time when older lot has given up.
Speaking on the event, Mary Bruce Wallach, Deputy Executive Director of the International Energy Agency, shared the potential in Mission Life and the promising initiative that India has shown in climate actions and environmental sustainability.
It's a great pleasure to have had the opportunity to participate today in this wonderful event hosted by the Indian government's Ministry of Environment along with UNICEF. We've had a particular focus in our conversation today on the role of youth in the Indian government's lifestyle for environment initiative, LIFE. The IEA has been really pleased to have had the opportunity to do a couple of pieces of analysis on this initiative, including one that we released just a few days ago, looking very specifically on the contributions of the LIFE initiative in countries all across the G20. India has really shown leadership on this issue, and I know it's been a big priority initiative for the Prime Minister, one that we very much look forward to continuing to collaborate with the Indian government on. Thanks so much for the opportunity to be here.
As the festival of Christmas is around the corner, the largest Christmas tree in the world has been lit up in the medieval Italian town of Gubbio. This is a tradition in which the entire slope of Mount Ingino is lit up with lights in the shape of a tree. The tree entered the Guinness Book of World Records in 1991 and its preparation works have lasted for weeks. The spectacular illumination aids local residents in seeing the tree, which lies on the side of slope at some 900 meters altitude. All right, and that's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. From all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.